All right, welcome back to the Cannabis Podcast. Phillip Latham. It's going to be a regular, like I said, but
Hmm.
we actually recorded something a few days ago, and then a lot of world stuff happened.
Saturday morning.
Literally the 13th, Saturday morning, we recorded something, and we're like, "Hey, we should probably redo this because things have changed, and everything we said is like outdated in an instant." Um, but we'll start with cannabis, then get into everything going on, and that's what we're going to do as we get closer to the election. Fortunately, people, if you don't like it, it is what it is. It's an election year, so we're going to cover mostly cannabis, but we're going to show how other things such as tech is connected to cannabis. And JD Vance is actually in now a recreational legal state, Ohio. So it's going to be interesting to see what his stances are and all that stuff. So long introduction, but welcome back.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. As always, always a pleasure. I look forward to these conversations whenever they coordinate themselves to line up for both of us. So this is always going to be informative and hopefully enlightening in a positive way rather than just addressing the doom and gloom of what's happening. But yeah, that
Yeah.
was so crazy that we recorded it that morning and then like ish just hit the fan like later in the day. So
Yeah.
crazy. We can talk
Eh,
about that too, because like I was at work and like somebody walked in and was like Trump got shot, and they basically just like said it and like walked out of the room, and I was like, what?
You're
So
like,
obviously,
aha, okay, what?
well, no, my impulse was just to go straight to Twitter because like
Right.
at least that's got some kind of real time
It's got, you can
you know
curate
in
what's going on.
Right. So, I'm scrolling through Twitter, like, what's going on, what's going on. And it was really interesting to see in real time and kind of like the fog of the moment, like what everybody was putting forward as like truth. Like, oh, they got the shooter, or, the mistaken identity of like I can't remember where he was, but he was like some like soccer fan that they were like, this fat guy's an Antifa member. It's like, what? And then, as like the TMZ video came out with the shooter on the roof, and then there was other videos of the shooters on the roof. Um, and then people like breaking down the actions of the cat team that was over Trump's right shoulder, how there was a second cat team, how there was, they asked like the campaign had asked previously, I guess like a couple weeks prior to like get beefed up security on the person, like on Trump's person. Um, the amount of bullets fired, what direction were they coming from?
Now they're
So
talking
just
about the water tower.
oh, I haven't heard that angle yet.
There's video apparently of somebody on top of a second shooter on top of a water tower.
Interesting.
Now they show a video. I looked at it and it's like it's just a bump on top of a water tower. So it's just grainy and stuff. So it could be, you know how water towers have like a top thing a lot. And I was like,
Hmm.
okay, I mean, show me more footage. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but show me some other stuff. But there's just so much that doesn't pass the smell test in India.
Then there was literally the SWAT, or like the SWAT team that was on site was in the building that this dude was on top of. They had the shooter pegged an hour before Trump started speaking. 42 seconds or something before they took the shot, and like just all this stuff. I'm just like,
Doesn't
yeah,
have
again, that this is one of those things. Like, I'm not even saying that like the New York Times, or was it New York Times or Washington Post, that has the bullet picture where it's like whizzing by his head. That's a crazy picture. If that proves to be real, which like for all intents and purposes, it looks like it is
right.
legit.
Just assume
Um,
it is.
Crazy to capture a moment like that. And
Not
then
only
like,
that, the
go
the
ahead.
the photographer. I don't know if he took that photo, but the photographer that took the
The
photo of
George Bush.
Trump, like he took the same photo of George Bush being read my pet goat, or being told that. Now,
Saw that.
again, if you're an AP photographer,
You're gonna be at
you're
places
going to
like that
be
all the
where
time.
all
Yeah,
the so that's not too big of a stretch to say like,
sure.
oh, this guy's in on it. That's not at all what I'm saying. I'm just
Weird,
saying that's
weird coincidence.
it's just like the guys in World War II that got all those crazy photos.
Hmm.
The
Hmm.
Iwo Jima
hmm
one. The famous one from Pearl Harbor. All these kind of iconic shots, which is why I do photography. Like I
Yeah.
got some pretty one anyway. So Um, so with cannabis, let's start with
Sure,
JD
sure,
Vance. Let's start with
sure.
JD Vance's stance on cannabis. And the most recent thing he said, he's in Ohio, which was a ballot initiative that the voters voted on. It wasn't like passed by the Senate or anything like that. The voters voted on it. It's law. And he said, because Republicans are states' rights people, um, well, as they say. And so he said, I respect the will of the Ohio voters. If that's what they voted for, that's what they voted for, which is kind of a neutral stance to take. So you don't get, I mean, what's the point of going against it if it's already passed?
Right.
It only hurts him. Um,
Mhm.
and these guys are capitalists. So they know the next big thing in Ohio is cannabis. So they're not going to, they want those jobs. They want that tax revenue. They're not going to, you know, yeah. So that's all most recent JD Vance's stance on cannabis. And he's a senator, so he's not the governor, so it doesn't really matter.
He like to me he kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, he wasn't really on many people's radar in terms of like the getting the nod for the VP pick. Um, a buddy of mine was sharing a bunch of stuff with me about like all the crazy stuff he said about women, like just how he's kind of perpetuating the, woe is the Appalachian, lifestyle and, downtrodden and dirty and, backwards and alcohol and opium. And I'm saying like none of that's true about, parts of those areas or that region. Like I have, I'm from Northern Virginia. My parents have owned property in West Virginia for pretty much my whole life. So I've like traversed through, rural Virginia and West Virginia, the most of my
And
life. And, are there parts that are like really hard hit economically that, just haven't been revitalized? Absolutely. But there are definitely also like majorly gentrified urban environments that are like, you know, just like any other major city. So I don't know, just the whole premise of the hillbilly elegy or whatever that got made, and
I'm glad you
it's
brought
just
that
more
up.
it's more propaganda stuff.
I'm glad you brought that up because the way that the news and the media portrays it to where they're portraying it to where like right doesn't even talk to left. We don't want to do anything with them. Well, if that was the case, why did Ron Howard direct the movie called Hillbilly Elegy with all these celebrities that don't like
The
conservative
right.
things,
Yeah.
but they like paychecks, coming from somebody as an actor, that has had to do auditions and roles that I don't like. That's why I'm doing less of them right now, because if it doesn't go with what I feel at the time, then I'm like, I just had a bunch of auditions. I was like, I'm good. I'll pass. I wish you luck, but like, they weren't through my agent. They were just, random stuff. But it's interesting. I looked up Hillbilly Elegy. It's on Netflix, I think, right now, or
Hmm.
Amazon, one of the two.
One of the two.
Yeah. And it's like, so you found his story and book compelling enough to make it into a massive movie.
Within
You
four
don't,
years.
what?
Within 4 years.
Right.
The book was released 16, movie was 20.
Well, and both of those are election years. Bro, when Scorsese tried to get Wolf of Wall Street made for like 30 years.
Hmm.
So you're telling me one of the best, most powerful directors in the world, Martin Scorsese, had trouble getting movie for, funding for the Wolf of Wall Street, but they did all this, released it, cast everything within 3 years, three and a
Hmm.
half, shot it, optioned it, edited it. Like, okay. I mean, I guess it's proof if you want something done, you just do it. Um,
Yep.
either
The
way you spin it, you kind of lose that argument. So, whatever. You know?
the will of Hollywood, man.
Yeah. I mean, they picked him for Ohio, in my opinion, for Ohio. I got a guy, I think I told you, he's the mayor of Cincinnati, who's been there for like a year or two. He's a Democrat, but I don't think he's too mad that JD Vance is running, because he's probably going to run for that Senate seat. Um,
Hmm.
his name's Aftad Purval. He's the mayor of Cincinnati.
My
Um,
whole family's UC grads, so I've been to Cincinnati a bunch of times.
you should
Skyline
look
Chili,
into this guy.
Skyline Chili, born and raised on that stuff. It's great.
Yeah, exactly. Skyline and Gold Star Chili.
That's right.
The this guy's tapped in. He was internal counsel for PG&E, and
Oh, interesting.
so then he challenged in Ohio a congressman that was like a 30-year Republican stronghold and almost beat him, but lost. Then he won the mayorship, and then like I've known him for a while. I went to a fundraiser of his in LA just to kind of vibe it out and see how it was. I saw Connie Britton there,
Hmm.
which is like, how are you doing a fundraiser in LA when you're running for Congress in Ohio? I mean, I know why,
Interesting.
but like,
Sure.
this is awkward, is it not?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
nobody here does anything in Ohio. And in Ohio, they're going to be like, wait, so all of our donation money came from outside the state? So what? Anyway, um, that aside, he's probably gonna he's on a trajectory. Good looking guy. He's from, I believe, Tibet, first generation American.
Nice. Okay.
Good looking guy. Um, very well spoken.
Monk status. Love that.
Yeah, that's the future narrative too, right? Coming together,
Yep.
being peaceful,
Yep.
all that kind of stuff. So
Yep.
yeah, look into that.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting to see how that, I don't know if he has to stop being senator right now, but if he does,
Uh,
I think
no, I don't think till they
they
would get
win.
voted. Yeah,
And then I don't
I
know if
think.
his seat is up. I don't think he's up for, no, he just won. So I don't think his seat's up right now. But if he wins, they'll have to appoint
Hmm.
probably
Like with that, like what happened with Kamala.
right, an interim
Hmm.
person, and that will
Yeah.
then have the leg up on the next election.
Right.
And Ohio's got a Republican governor. So that'll be
Speaking
interesting.
of Kamala, do you think she's gonna get the nod if old Joe decides it's time to step back?
There's like a part of me thinks, a big part of me thinks this was always the plan. So,
Could be.
because how do you resign to the fact that you forced Kamala on us as VP, and then now you're not even endorsing her?
Hmm.
So you mean we could have had Bernie, we could have had Tulsi. Not saying I approve of any of these people, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
this is just the options. You could have had anybody else during, like, she didn't earn a single delegate in the last election, not one. And now she's literally a staircase, a step away from the presidency. like, like, and now you're the president. But that's also,
Yikes.
and I thought that was the deal. How, think about this: you do a deal with the devil never gives you the deal you're told.
Right.
Kamala goes, I'm gonna be fucking president. Like, if I do the deal with the devil, I'm gonna be president. If I just sit there, shut up, and wait for him to die, oh, joke's on you. You're not gonna be president because I'm not gonna
Yeah.
resign. Like, and how do you not run? How do you not resign? Like, instead of just running for reelection. So the reports are coming out that the the Democrats are trying to do an in stride straight jaw right now, where they're just trying to pull over every great card they need to happen. And so if it does happen, we won't know until after it does. Because in psychoanalytic theory, the result, the outcome was the original intent.
Hmm.
So think about this. Nobody voted for Kamala. She's now one beat away from the presidency. And like, let's say she becomes president and picks a vice president and then they win. Let's say it's Hillary or Michelle Obama or somebody, Stacey Abrams, of that nature, anybody,
Whitmer,
Whitmer.
Newsom.
And then they are literally, that literally is a 4-year coup. You just put somebody in the presidency that not one person voted for, not one state.
Yeah.
But my democracy is at stake. Come on, dude. I was alive during 2000 when they took my democracy in front of my eyes.
Hanging Chads, man.
That's why the last chapter in my movie is called The Hanging Chads. And it's amazing, which I won't go into now because people steal it. So, um, and
Wild.
and so going back to cannabis, sorry, y'all. Going back to cannabis, they're opening up when they already said they're going to reschedule it. Okay. Now they're opening a comment period to get people's ideas and recommendations of what they should do. And by the way, they always do that when they already know what they're going to do. They just need to give it time to marinate. Okay. So if you look on Cannabis News, over 33,000 comments submitted to the DEA. Interesting number. Could have been any other number than 33,000. By the way, the fact that it happened on 7/13,
Hmm.
dude.
I don't know if I told you this, but sorry, this is going away from cannabis. This is just like a
Yeah, it's
random
okay.
random fun fact. Um, there was uh, I think it was the president of Spain was assassinated by one of the members of his security detail on July 13th in like 18 something. I was like, what? And then that led to a civil war that led to the Spanish War, the
Mhm.
Spanish Civil War. So I was like, whoa, weird, weird.
If you Google all the events that have happened on like the 13th of months, you're going to be like, I mean, there's a lot of days, right? And there's
Sure,
a
sure,
lot
sure,
of
sure, sure,
people
sure.
in the world and a lot of events, but you start seeing things. And if you Google the 24th or 25th of another, I'm sure you'll find a bunch of shit too.
Hmm.
But it's just like like that 33,000 comments. Okay, show me. Just show me. And again, I'm not going to be a conspiracy.
They're public comments. Why not make them public?
Right. And so, and again, I'm not saying anything about the Trump thing because we don't have any idea about what I think happened. But I will say, show me your ear, bro. I
Well,
want
he
to
was
see it
apparently he was golfing the morning after.
with no band-aid on.
It was like 90 something degrees out. Wasn't wearing a bandage on it, and then that night he shows up at the RNC with the
Well,
bandage
you
on
got
it.
to let wounds get fresh air.
Sure, 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 sure. And then everybody in the crowd is wearing these stupid bandages. I was like,
And
oh,
then
good grief.
Hogan comes out, bro. We live in idiocracy.
It's so crazy.
Like
It's so
that's a scene from Idiocracy. Like at the rally, like Terry Crews is like shooting a gun and like doing all this stuff. I'm really surprised they didn't just start shooting off an AK, and oh, shoot my ear, like
dude, the whole way that he like retold the story last night in his speech, it's
I
like
didn't watch it.
wow. I watched it just because I was like, what's he gonna
Right.
say? Because and the only reason I really wanted to hear what he had to say was like, okay, how drastically
Yeah.
different is this
How
from
does
what
he
he was gonna
dramatize
say
this?
if he hadn't gotten shot?
Uh-huh.
But yeah, dude, it was literally like he was trying to narrate an action movie.
Bro.
It was so cringy. And then of course like he ended up going off script and giving his whole, giving himself his like, ad-libbed shtick of, the bolsterous and boisterous whatever commentary he wanted to give. It's just like these
I
people
turned
are
it
so
on for like two
ridiculous.
seconds and he was just rambling about something I had no idea. And I was like, whatever, I'll watch the highlights later. And I came back like 20 minutes later and he was still rambling.
Still
And I
talking.
was like, what is
Long,
going
longest
on?
longest RNC or longest speech ever at a convention.
And see, here's the irony of
He broke
Trump's.
his own record.
Oh, there you go. Hey, big league, huge.
Huge.
And
The best.
Trump's Achilles heel is his ego. And that this is the whole karmic narrative is that just like last time, if you, this is Trump, if you would just shut the hell up right now until election, landslide.
For sure.
But you can't, so you won't. And that's the way it is. Don't be surprised if those Hollywood tapes of him saying the N word come out in October, because now
Mhm.
that his black support is gaining, they can't have that. Um,
There's going to be another October surprise, in whatever fashion it arrives in, for sure.
mhm. Yeah. And it's like cannabis is, I don't think cannabis is, well, it's on a couple of ballots, like
It's on state
for
ballots, right?
state ballots.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because that's also a tactic too to get more liberal voters out. And you notice they're in states like Florida, people where they need a left wing turnout
Hmm.
for those kind of things, and say, hey, while you're there, vote for the president. Um, but a lot of these issues, like JD Vance is pro crypto. He's very pro crypto. He owns Bitcoin, and also like I told you offline, Pfizer Forum, where they had the RNC, is a XRP Ripple partner from day one. It's right under your nose.
Crazy.
And nobody like and then the next day there's a power outage today and like all over. They're gonna
Oh,
have to
this thing,
fix it. They're gonna have to fix
this
it.
this Microsoft thing is crazy. Like it started last night and now it's like just the ripple effect globally is
Oh, you
kind
said
of
it.
nuts. Crazy.
That's the point. It's Ripple. It's
Uh,
that's the game. It's Ripple. You just said it subconsciously. The ripple effect. Oh, and then they just uploaded like 50 videos Ripple did to their YouTube channel within the last like 48 hours.
Interesting.
Meaning, if they Google us, what are they going to see on my YouTube channel? Oh, now it's time to give them all this information. Wait, so you just shot all those videos in the last like couple days or two? No, you didn't. You've had them ready to go. And the majority of them are like, what is a stable coin? What is crypto? They're learning things so that people,
Mm,
that's phase one is learning. Then adoption comes.
edification.
Exactly. And so they go, oh, okay, well, I see what a stable coin is. Oh, it's backed by gold or hard assets. It's not like money. Oh, okay, yeah, we can I can do this instead of money because I don't have I mean, you're watching it.
I've already been transacting on my phone all this time. And I keep hearing about this fiat stuff. What is fiat? Fiat sounds bad. I
Is
don't
that a
like fiat.
car?
Yeah. Yes, as a matter of fact, it is. Yep.
That's exactly what it is. Everybody goes, oh, isn't the car like the fiat
Yeah.
car? Yeah.
Never mind hegemonic control of economies and blah blah blah, and, fractional reserve lending and all the
Right.
actual things that really dictate how money's working in the world, whatever.
Right.
Or, Bank of International Settlements, IMF, who I know we've asked this question before, but who runs the Bank of International Settlements? Who's on the board? Does anybody
Hmm.
know?
That's a good question, actually.
Augustine, whatever his Augustine Carsons,
Says on the
Karstens,
yeah,
the
it says
best
it
Bond
says the
villain
general
ever.
manager is Augustine Karstens, which is
The Bond villain, the fat Bond villain that looks like
the
he's eaten too much for
rotund
10.
gentleman
Oof.
that just looks like
He
he needs
looks
an oxygen mask to talk.
he looks
Um,
like the chick from the first Willy Wonka movie that the blueberry, like
Again, we're
just
not,
in
if this was a normal person not in this higher level, we don't make fun. But the people
no.
who run the world, they're off limit. They're totally on limits. Like, I don't care. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, politicians, I will make fun of all your looks. Apple, uh, all of you. Mark Cuban, don't care. Billionaires, you're not my peers. Okay.
Nope.
So, but if it's another person struggling like me, I will never make fun of the appearance.
Of
Um,
course.
but these people are not those people.
Not your friends, not friendly.
So he was governor of the Bank of Mexico. Um, oh, Christine Lagarde.
Who's that?
So that's the IMF.
Okay.
So these guys are all connected in with the IMF, the Bank of International Settlements.
International Monetary Fund for those that don't know what IMF is.
Yep. He was the treasurer of the Bank of Mexico. Um, yeah, so it's basically all just banking cartel people. Um,
I'm shocked.
there's a picture with him next to Angela Merkel. Yeah, I mean, it's all these, and that's the thing. You ask a great question that more people should ask. Like we all know Apple, but does everybody know who runs Apple?
Probably not Tim Cook.
Right. Like even I'm sitting there going, wait, do I?
I don't.
Whatever company that
Oh
you ask
wait,
yourself.
wait. I do know. BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard.
Exactly. And by the way, Apple's a Ripple partner. And
Of course they are. Didn't you were you the one that sent me the thing about how Apple Pay and Ripple have aligned? Yeah, that was wild.
because and you can do this, who's ever watching, go to your bank. And I said this to my buddy who finally came to me and bought into all these things that I'm saying. He goes, well, when am I going to know if my bank goes digital? I was just, trust me, you'll know. Like your Apple change, you'll notice settlements quicker. Because you know how those processing, it's like processing in your account for like 1 or 2 days, but it's still out. Like it's a pre-approved thing.
Hmm.
Check lately.
It's faster.
same day settlements,
Yep.
especially
I've
with
I, I've noticed that.
Bingo, especially with Coinbase. That's called T plus one. So instead of in the past, the banks had to do like T plus seven or T plus five, which is transaction day plus 5 days. That's when the regulations have to be like it's settled.
Hmm.
But now the MICA regulations, which is European regulations, just went into effect where Europe, the European Union said all financial settlements or transactions have to be same day settlements.
Interesting.
The only technology in the world that can do that is Ripple. Full stop. I don't know what everybody else
Interesting.
needs to hear. Well, why is it so hard
Interesting.
to buy? You just answered your question. All of Europe will be running on Ripple. They don't want you to have it. That's like the buy. They just, I think I sent it to you. They're doing stock buybacks. They just admitted yesterday they're emailing investors that bought private equity, buying
Yeah.
back for $68 a share. Publicly, it's at 50 cents, 57 cents.
Yeah. Weird.
That's that's above what they think it's going to go, but not so high to show you that you shouldn't sell to be. Now that person probably made a bunch of money, or else he probably wouldn't have sold. You know,
Right.
everyone's got their own, you know, dollar amount in their head that they like. Right now, if my shit went up to $10 million,
See ya. Fire
Cannabis
number.
Podcast, boop. Actually, now I'd be able to do this full time. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Um,
There you go.
that would actually be way more fun, and then this would definitely be green. Um, but that's, if I got a million, I don't know what I would do because
Yeah.
a million really
Doesn't last long.
these days doesn't, unless you like do some serious investments and like.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'll make 10 million in this bull run. No, I hope I do. Um, but like if you do the math, I'm sorry to go on a tangent on XRP and Ripple, but I just I really want everybody to know how like dead serious I am about crypto coming. And then now Donald Trump says he's considering Jamie Dimon as his Treasury Secretary.
Yeah. That was wild when you sent me that. I was like, what?
And that's all over the news. That's not just like a rumor.
Yeah. It's a small club.
So is he, I think I know the answer, but is he anti-establishment? No,
No.
he's the 1%, bro.
Yeah.
And maybe, like I said to you in text, maybe, you know how Trump said, I'm going to do the JFK files, I'm going to release Assange, and, who's now cut a deal because nobody
Yep.
did anything, which
Hmm.
might have been the plan. Who knows? But he said
In a,
he's
in
going to
a
release
weird, in
the,
a weird, in a weird, obscure court that nobody had ever heard of before.
with who's got the jurisdiction?
The U.S. apparently, because it was one of like the island territories that we had a district court in.
But it's wild. How do you have
That's
jurisdiction over
that's
somebody you
why.
haven't charged with a crime?
Correct. He's not a U.S.
What
citizen.
deal
He
did
hadn't
you
been.
plead? What were you charged with?
It was like conspiracy
Oh, I know
to.
that's what he pled to,
Yeah.
but like what U.S. court? I maybe I'm wrong, but like name the U.S. court who charged him with something.
Yeah. I don't know.
Like it might be I think it's like an international court or like a United Nations court or something. I don't know.
I don't know.
But it's wild that you pardon Chelsea Manning, but not either of the people that he gave the information to. I don't.
Oh man, I got some crazy,
So,
uh, crazy intel on like the collateral damage video, buddy.
oh shit, you there?
So,
I can hear you now.
okay. We got 2 minutes left too. Just letting you know.
Yeah, when it says my internet connection's unstable when it never ever says that.
Mm.
Um,
I said the naughty words. Whoops.
yeah, we've been saying some naughty stuff because it never does this, like ever.
Oopsies.
But when the minute's up or whatever, I'm gonna have to. I don't know if it'll cut us off. If it does, just relog back into the link. How much time do you have?
Okay. I probably got like another like 10, 15 minutes.
Okay. Okay, cool.
I got some stuff I got to do this afternoon.
Okay.
Um, but just real quick. So the collateral damage video, I was talking to a buddy of mine about the rules of engagement that were kind of in effect in Iraq and Afghanistan and in that era of things. And it was really interesting because apparently they were working under like the premise that any forward movement towards US personnel gave authorization for engagement. And that because the Apache helicopters were working off of a screen, it's like 4x4 night vision, and that the item that either one or more of the journalists was carrying resembled or like corresponded in its resemblance with a scope for a rifle, that basically gave them authorization to engage. And that essentially WikiLeaks or whoever had actually cropped the video and edited it out to make it look a lot worse than what like militarily was how things went.
Mm,
But I was like, damn. And he was just like, yeah, dude. So you wonder why none of the people that flew that mission have ever gotten and brought up on charges or in trouble at all. It's because like
mm.
based on the military
The
protocols that we
rules.
were operating under, we were in the clear. In fact, apparently some of them got like awarded stuff. So, and like
Yeah.
I'm someone that, thinks that that was terrible. Wanted to go on record and saying like, journalists shouldn't die based on, doing their jobs. Like I'm not condoning what happened. I just found it very unfortunate, enlightening, edifying, whatever word
Hmm.
we want to use, just like, and it's the same kind of thing that I learned about like the Trump assassination attempt. Apparently, the shooters were not given authorization to engage
Yeah, I saw
the
that.
the suspect, and the fact that they did return fire without authorization actually puts in jeopardy their jobs. So the fact that they actually took out the guy, or, for all intents and
Whatever.
purposes in the mainstream narrative, they shot the guy that shot at the president, and that could get them in trouble because they weren't given authorization to do so.
Yeah.
Mind-boggling. But
It's
he's
kind of
like,
America in a nutshell, right?
yeah, and he was explaining to me that like, the protocols that the Secret Service operates under are just asinine. And that,
Those are
the
intentional.
yeah, and like the intel community works off of a reactionary like protocol rather than a like risk mitigation preemptive type approach where there's like actual analysis as to like what could happen if this happened, and we need to do this to prevent, 4 steps from now getting to, a worst case place. So it's just because I don't come from the government. I was never in the military. I don't know most of how this stuff actually
Mm.
works, how,
Me neither.
special operations and, whatever's conducted. So when I'm talking to someone that has, you know, decades worth of experience in these communities, I listen. And it often kind of rattles, my preconceived notions, just like, the collateral damage stuff that I was just talking about. It's like, damn, like that's crazy because I've been, pretty ardent supporter of Julian Assange, thinking that people needed to be held accountable for the, information that he was releasing on, a very high political level, but never have been or likely will be. But oftentimes it's the military enforcement arm that's having to do the, direct engagements with, quote unquote enemies or the threats. And, they're working under a whole series of constraints that I
Timeline.
don't know or understand. So, it's just
Right.
it's a crazy world, man. It's a crazy, crazy world.
To your point about talking to people that have the military experience and like kind of all that stuff, my best friend in Nashville, won't say his name just because I don't know if he wants this to be,
Hmm.
on record, but I'll tell you what he said. He used to do in the military, he used to do personal security detail. It's called PSD, personal security detail for a four-star general in Germany. And he went to Haiti, he's been all over the country, he's been to Iraq, so like he knows protocol. Basically, he was Secret Service for a four-star general. He was military police.
My buddy did PSD for an ambassador.
Cool. So I asked him after this, I go, hey man, I'm not gonna, we talk about this stuff like me and you do, and I'm like, hey, I'm not gonna say my opinion. I really want to know, like, just looking at the pictures, looking at everything that happened, tell me, is this effed? What do you think? Is this protocol? And he's like, bro, this is so far from protocol. He's like, I don't care if that person said, my daughter's back there, I need to stop and go get her. Our job is to get our person, our target, to safety. And then you let him expose his chest to, okay, we neutralized the shooter. How do you know it was only one shooter, not more than one? And
Why do you have a 5'3" lady that's part of this, the personal,
yeah,
the detail that goes up and is trying to protect the body
and
mass of the
right.
president that can't?
And we both, and, he was like, I don't know what happened, with all this information still coming out. He goes, but I do know that, like, if this is the case, then I need to be the head of the Secret Service because I'm a better security guard than these guys. And
Mhm.
bro, he is, So, if you guys need security, go check out Principal Defense. So it's very fascinating, and he. Oh, you're talking about like people having scopes, like and kind of
Mhm.
that stuff. Perfect example. So the photographer that took that shot, of him in between two columns, kind of inverted in a little bit, not implying anything symbolically, where you're kind of in between the two pillars, walking in your own judgment path. Anyway, that's just a journey of masonry that I was referring to, but that probably has nothing to do with anything. When the Paris Olympics are in the 33rd week, the 33rd Summer Olympics, sorry. Um, anyway, I digress. So he was able to expose his chest. That photographer that took that photo had the camera like this. They showed body cam footage. He had a body cam or a head cam on. So he
Yeah,
released it. And he's like this over the stage taking photos. That's that
that
that kind
doesn't
of
equate.
looks like a gun though.
Mm-hmm.
So you are pointing shit at the president while he's being shot at, and nobody said anything to you. Nobody did anything.
Oh, I heard a good one this morning,
It's
or
just
like
wild.
read, and again, like I haven't actually verified this, so like this is complete
Spec
speculation.
on spec.
But the lady that's sitting behind Trump that
Assistant
doesn't
AD.
react at all,
Oh, oh,
yes,
yeah.
of the
Apparently she's.
FBI.
And again, I want her to come out and say that's not me in the photo. Just like Trump wanted to see Obama's birth certificate. Okay, you can ask for whatever you want. Show me your fucking ear, bro.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm not saying nothing, but just show me your ear.
So the other interesting thing that it's because my question to my buddy, obviously like lots of military experience, I was like, so to me, that round didn't sound very big. The acoustics of it just didn't like
Not like a
it wasn't a
22.
very he's it was a 223, and
Mm.
he's like, that's the round that's used just to maim. It's never meant to kill. Because I was asking, I was like, dude, if a bullet whizzes by someone's head that close that has any kind of stopping power, that's ripping your face off.
At
It's not
least the
like
ear off.
that's not nicking your ear to make it bleed.
Like,
I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. I got buzzed by the biggest mosquito I've
as
ever
I
heard in my
turned my
life.
head.
Yes. And I was like, dude, this doesn't make any sense.
None of
Cause
it does.
like, so again, like, cause basically he was explaining to me, he was just like, yeah, sni you know, experienced snipers will use a 223 just to maim the threat. They're not gonna kill the person because use different stuff for that. And I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. And then I was also starting to ask, I was like, then what did the cat teams use to kill the shooter?
A lot of inconsistencies. And like
And I
that
was,
explanation of like the best comment right now is no comment, right? Until you have shit situated or you have an idea of what you know you're going to say when they said, why weren't there shooters up there? Oh, it was too slopey. Just shut up. Don't say anything. Just say, we can't comment on ongoing. You say this in every other time. You say we
Right.
can't comment on ongoing investigations every other time. And now
Mhm.
you're just commenting on everything?
But again, there was like four buildings in the area of the fairground, and I'm like, okay, just to me,
You didn't have a
common
helicopter or
sense.
drones?
A drone?
No
Yeah.
helicopters. So if there's one thing in the air and everybody knows there's nobody on buildings and there's somebody on a building,
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
crazy.
we're being
It's
played. I
just
don't know how. I don't know by who. I don't know why. I think I maybe know why, other than just chaos. Some people just want to watch the world burn. But I do think that it has to do with crypto and our financial regs because this Microsoft thing is kind of what I said, where if there's a glitch, I mean, there was a software update, they said. They're like, oh,
Mhm.
it happened because of a software update. Well, why didn't it happen on any other software update? What's different about this software update? Maybe it's because crypto's on its way.
I don't know. We shall
I
see.
mean, we shall see. I mean, you want to track and trace cannabis, crypto's blockchain is the only way. Um, Cannabis is
It,
actually the Hemp Inc. blockchain, actually partnered with Algorand, who I told you the United Nations is using as an educational tool.
Interesting.
That's right. Those are real. That's not, you can Google all that, you know. So I'm just a random statement
Guy
guy.
on the internet. Guy on the internet.
I'm just a random guy on the internet. By the way, this is none of this is financial advice, legal advice. This is all speculation. We're both stoned. We don't know what we're talking about. We're just having fun. This is a joke. Um, this is all satire. So,
It's a
um,
comedy show.
yeah, that's ain't that the truth? Yeah.
So
So
crazy.
I hope you all enjoyed the comedy. I know you got to run. Um,
Yeah, I gotta chat.
dude, we're gonna probably have to chat. I'm gonna upload this hopefully today so that we don't have to redo it
Awesome.
again. And then we're probably gonna have to talk on Monday because there's rumblings coming out that Biden's gonna resign this weekend
We'll
or he's
see.
gonna step down or something's gonna happen this weekend because
Some
they got to take the attention away from the RNC.
some kind of ritual is gonna happen.
Yeah, I don't wish death on anybody, um,
No,
but
but
I don't see.
he's isolating right now because he's got COVID.
Well, he was isolating except for that one footage we saw him walking out of Air Force One with no
Nope,
mask on.
no mask.
And aren't you in the highest at risk group that everybody told me was like 80 to 80 and up, very frail, not healthy?
And just also gave an opportunity to pump the advertising for Paxlovid again.
And you know you've lost the team when Van Jones is on there saying, uh, Trump's going to speeches after a bullet. You're taking a night off because of a flu. That's Van Jones's words. You know you've lost the cult when that's the words coming out of their mouth. Which
Yes, sir.
the only thing I can take from that is times are changing.
Amen. Yeah, yeah,
Hopefully
yeah.
for the better. So,
Let us hope, man.
dude, all right,
This
brother. I
is
hope things go better for you. Things have a
Thanks,
good
sir.
weekend, and we'll definitely
Talk soon.
have a few more of these before the election.
Absolutely.
I'm probably gonna do one of these live on election night just because why not? Depending on
Cool.
is it Tuesday? I don't know, probably. So
I would say that I would join you, but I got a kid expected around then,
I was gonna
so
say you got an election
maybe
baby on
not.
the way. So
Maybe not.
maybe yeah, maybe not. But you'll get
Maybe
good news at
next year.
least. At least
Yeah.
get good news on that day. So tell everybody
Yeah.
where they can find you and follow you and your doc if it's still out there.
On Twitter, at Philip J Latham. I post stuff on Instagram like rarely, but I'm on
Yeah,
there if you want to like hit me up or whatever.
mostly on X, Twitter.
Mostly Twitter. I dead name that platform. But yeah, so recent docs that have come out, The Lost Entry came out last year. It's all about like free energy and you know, energy supplementing technologies. Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind came out a couple years ago. Cosmic Hoax is on YouTube. So just a bunch of, and then Missing 411, the UFO Connection came out 23, I want to say. 22. Anyways, yeah, movies are out on the interwebs. You can find them. Check them out. Tell me if you hate them, love them, whatever. I don't care.
Comment. Hey, just watch them. That's the point.
Yeah, exactly. Just
Yeah.
make an opinion.
Make
Learn
an
something new.
opinion. Give me that 2 cents of that click.
That's
All
right.
right, buddy. Maybe it's time we make a doc about some stuff.
Hey,
So,
let's do it.
all right, brother. Have a great weekend and
Likewise,
talk
man.
soon.
Take care. Be well.
See ya.
Peace.
Thanks, Wise. Thanks for joining.
Amen.